Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another edition of the Spurs podcast, or should I say another therapy session here on this channel. I'll tell you what, here we go again. Tottenham Hotspur have just been knocked out of the FA Cup. Sheffield United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. I don't even know what to say. I've got three very special guests to talk about today's game. Let's start with actor Ricky Norwood. Back on the show with us, Rick. How are you?
Oh, mate. Firstly, Chris, I just let you know your mic was cutting in and out. It was
in and out. I can't hear it too well.
Yeah, it sounded like he was a bit distant then. I mean,
Tottenham team.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Overall, Chris, I'm really disappointed. Oh, he's gone. Look.
Yeah, I thought so though, because his mic sounded dodgy, didn't it?
That's how disappointed Chris is. He's had enough. He's gone. He's left us lot too. But no, I mean. He's back in the game. Yeah, no, I'm really disappointed. I kind of tipped us to win this one tonight. Not only the game, but I thought we was going to be real contenders for the FA Cup tonight. It's tough. It's really bloody well tough. At the same time, and this is a sad thought as well, but at the same time, I'm half used to it, which is a sad indictment. You know, coming up against a team where, you know, we should win. There ain't really many excuses of why we didn't win. Yes, we had a second side out, but majority of those players are all internationals. They've all been around long enough now. That is tough to take. I mean, especially it was the cutting edge of certain things. There was times throughout the night, throughout the game that we were solid. We were making certain movements and trying to get some shots off or to make something happen, but it was always a pass that just went wayward or a shot that just went wayward. I think there was a couple that let us down tonight a little bit. All right, maybe not let us down, but they didn't have the brightest spark tonight. I thought Richarlison was off tonight, and him in the number 9 role.
Yeah, more than a couple.
Yeah, I mean, he really needs to take his opportunities, and especially for the amount of money that we spent on him. I know he's frustrated too. You can see it in him, and you can see it when he came off. He was really frustrated, especially with that shot that went nearly over the stadium. Bright sparks, bright patches from Moura. He's kind of, you can see he needs a bit of time to kind of get into the game and kind of get his game onto the field in a Tottenham shirt. It's going to take a little while, but there was bright spark. I thought Lucas was the brightest spark of the bunch tonight. It always feels like we take 3 touches before we can pass the ball off, and Lucas was doing first time plays and passes and just confused Sheffield a little bit. Even his mazy runs and dribbles, I felt they were effective. I felt they were risk taking. I felt he was trying to be creative at the same time and just cause different problems. But again, another year, another we tried and another we failed in this particular cup competition. So I'm really disappointed tonight, Chris.
Well, I think a lot of people had Tottenham's name on the FA Cup this year, and this is why it's just so disappointing again. 11,610 days since Gary Mabbutt lifted the FA Cup for us, nearly 32 years ago. It's just an unbelievable, ridiculous stat. And what I can't stomach now, and why I feel so gutted this evening, is the fact that we go and beat Manchester City, the champions. We then go to Leicester, get absolutely hammered up there. Then we beat West Ham. Then we beat Chelsea. 2 good performances, especially the Chelsea one at the weekend. And then, of course, lose to Sheffield United going out of a very important competition. And when you look at the draw, when you look at some of the teams left, what an opportunity. What an opportunity this year to put a trophy in the cabinet. I tell you, I feel gutted every single time we go out of the cup. I've been telling myself for 32 years that Spurs are going to win this trophy, and yet another year is going to pass us without a trophy.
Hey Chris, you know what, bro? And not only does every fan deserve a little bit more, right? But like all those fans that went up to Sheffield United tonight, you was in it. Please tell me what it was like being in it. But we could hear it at home, and that Tottenham away support was fantastic. So they were trying to push the boys on. They tried to lift them.
The away is always fantastic, Rick, and this is why I feel gutted a lot of the times as a Spurs fan, because the support for this club is unbelievable. most weeks. You go to away games, you go across Europe, you go all around the world following the club, and the support is always absolutely sensational. And this is why we all deserve success. We all deserve a trophy, and I just feel like we got it completely wrong. I felt like there were a number of performances that were really poor this season. I know you said a couple. I think there's a lot more than a couple, which obviously we'll talk about. I feel very, very annoyed, very frustrated, very upset this evening. We've not even introduced the guest yet. We've also got with us Richard Whitehead, MBE. Rich, how are you?
Back on the beers. Mate, yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, frustration is like a word that we've used on numerous occasions this year. You show display like we did against Chelsea, Man City, and then you see that today, very similar to the Leicester game. I think certain players didn't turn up. I think we're just certain positions we're so poor. I think the Davinson Sanchez slip like summed up our game. I was literally Sheffield United were not good today. They weren't good, and to be honest, I think all their back three should have had at least a yellow card within the first half. Very, very dubious decisions. The referee, I don't know what he was smoking before he started the game, but he only had one tinge of light coming through his glasses, and that was definitely red and white. And just terrible decision making. I think, like you said, Chris, I think there's certain things that's happened within the club that's made this season very sporadic, and we've got no confidence when we go to a game. Do we see the Tottenham that played Chelsea and Man City, or do we see the Tottenham that played against Sheffield United and Leicester? There's no, and also I think the tempo today. Why didn't we go out and go, let's try and get 3 or 4 in the first half, then take Kane off, and then actually enjoy the game? I knew from about 60th minute, I thought they could just get a goal here and then hold on, and then that's it, just out the cup, and that's what happened. Terrible.
We've also got Gary Maloney back on the channel. Gary, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm not surprised. I think we deserved all we got. We were absolute dog shit, and start with the same starting 11 that beat Chelsea. Simple as that. And if you don't, you deserve all you get. Like Richard said, Sheffield United was shit. They weren't good. It's just we got the likes of fucking Sanchez on there who, I mean, listen, I'm not just going to call him out because half the team was shit tonight. But Sanchez is a fucking joke, mate. When you're starting players like Sanchez, you ain't got Romero in that team. You've got Son, who should have come off anyway. I don't even know why he's starting in the first place because he's better coming on off the bench. You don't start Kane. And it's the same old story with Tottenham. It's the same story against Middlesbrough. It's the same old shit. It never changes. Start with your strongest team, go 2 up, rest them, play the game out. I know what we'll do. We'll put dickheads in there, like Sanchez and all the other arseholes, and then we'll chase the game. We'll go 1-0 down, and then we'll panic, and we'll go out. Because we don't need to win the FA Cup because we won it 32, 33 years ago. So it doesn't really matter. Start with the team that beat Chelsea. Are you stupid?
All previous managers do this, Gary. Why do they do it?
Because they're stupid. Because they think they're cleverer than what they are, and they're arrogant, and they think they can change the team and bring in players like that, and they can do something with it. They can't. They're dog shit. They're shit players. We know Son ain't been on form anyway, so bring him on in the second half. He's lost without Kane anyway. You play Sanchez at the back. I mean, come on. It's just you know what? I don't want to swear throughout your show, but I'm sick to death of it. I'm sick to death of this shit every year. It's boring. Don't beat Man City and beat Chelsea and go up to Sheffield United and play like that. And I feel bad for you, Chris, because as soon as I saw the team lineup, I called it. I said, here we go. We're going to go 1-0 down and lose this game. And then we're going to go behind and then we're going to panic and try and get a goal back. And they're going to frustrate us and we're going to lose. And that's what happened. and I'm sick of it. And the only competition we could have won, we're out of. And that's the end of it. And have you seen who Sheffield United have drawn?
Yeah.
Same old shit. Same
Who
old
they
shit.
got?
We deserve all we get.
Let me just go through the draw. Manchester City against Burnley, Manchester United against Fulham, Brighton against Grimsby.
Wait till you hear this.
Sheffield United will play at home against Blackburn.
There you go. Just rub salt in the wounds. But listen, Chris, we've spoken about this time and time again. I don't know if it's stupidity. I don't know if it's arrogance. I don't know what it is. But why are you starting a team like that with players that can't play together? We've been here a million times. Just start with a team that beat Chelsea. It doesn't make any sense to me. Start with
Gary,
a team that beat Chelsea. You go 2 up. And then if you want to rest Kane, take him off and, you know, bring on Son and take Richarlison off, great. That's it. We're through. We're in the quarterfinals. Look, we're not saying we'd have gone on and won it, but at least give yourself a chance. You're not giving yourself a chance putting a team like that out there, mate. Come on, Chris. How many of them players, apart from what you said, Ricky, Moura tried a bit, bless him. He runs into dead ends most of the time, but at least he was trying. Who else? Porro looked dog shit. Kane when he come on, didn't have enough time. Sanchez, I don't even want to mention him again because he's shit. Who else? There's no one there. Crap. Shit.
Gary, I know you're annoyed, but I love the pyjamas.
Thank you very much. Listen, do you know what?
I love the pyjamas. At least you're going to sleep well tonight.
I tell you what, that starting 11 were all wearing Tottenham Hotspur nightwear pyjamas because they were playing like they were fucking half asleep.
Have you got matching boxer shorts?
Yeah, look.
Any excuse to get your clothes off, Gary? Eh? Any excuse to get your clothes off?
More fun than that game, but
you know what, guys? We're in a stage right now where even I thought with the amount of games that are coming up, I think rotation. You know, of course, we should be able to rotate the side. We should that second side. There ain't no excuses. That second side should have been able to play and win the game. And, you know, we've just bought £40 million Porro. He's got to start getting some game time. He's got to get up to speed and get into the team flow, start understanding the runs and stuff like that. We bought £60 million Richarlison, who's had 2 all right-ish games. He wound up Chelsea. He wound up Chelsea on the weekend. But it's an opportunity for him to play number 9. I'm just trying to go through the thinking of what they were thinking. Sonny, he's been subbed twice. He's come off the bench. He scored once. He's made a little bit of an impact in the second one. All right, let's try and get Sonny back firing. Let's start him in his favoured position. I'm just trying to go through the
I totally hear
process,
you, but with the Sonny situation, twice this season, once he comes on the score, the other one gets a hat trick. Romero, you're not playing, so you're bringing in Sanchez. You know, these sort of changes that he makes, you're taking too much of a risk. You're risking too much. You know, it almost sort of makes the Chelsea result now irrelevant. You know what I mean? Because as much as I love beating Chelsea, because we haven't done it in 5 years, we haven't even scored a goal at our ground, it means nothing now going out to Sheffield United at Bramwell Lane. That's the reality of it. But with the team that beat Chelsea, if that team starts today, we're winning that game. It's as simple as that.
I think it was too many changes. It was 6 changes.
Too many. It's stupid.
Let's talk about
too many changes.
Let's talk about the lineup. Fraser Forster in goal. The back three of Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis. And I might add that Dyer captained the side tonight. Perisic and Porro as wing backs. In the centre of midfield, Højbjerg, Sarr, and then the front three of Moura, Richarlison, and Son. Subs this evening, Austin, Tanganga, Romero, Lenglet, Skip, Devine, Kulusevski, Danjuma, and Harry Kane. Ricky, what did you think when that team lineup came out? Because when you look at it, it's a strong team. But I'm with Gary. I just feel like there were so many changes. And when we've seen it in particular in previous years, you know, Colchester springs to mind, where Pochettino left the likes of Ericsson on the bench, where really you think, just get the job done and then bring these players off. And I've always said on this channel, whenever we've lost in cup competitions and we've changed a lot of players in games, if you're going to play the likes of Harry Kane from the bench, why not start him?
Yeah, but then there's also the argument, Chris, is that Harry Kane never gets a rest as well. I'm just giving you the other side of it, all right? I totally agree with what you're saying.
But we haven't had a trade in 32 years. We've got to get this job done, surely.
I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. But one of the complaints that we have had as a fan base is that we run Harry Kane into the ground. When is he going to have sufficient enough? When are we going to have sufficient enough depth for him to have a rest? Whether that means coming off the bench. I'm with you. I'm just looking at the other side of things and trying to get everybody listening.
You're spot on, Ricky. You're spot on when you say that. And
can
I
I
get that.
also
I'm not
say-
one of them people that says give Kane a rest because I think we need him in every game. But what we could have done tonight is we could have started him. We'd have probably gone 1 or 2 up and then take him off after an hour.
Yeah,
I agree with
sorry,
you.
Rick. I wasn't having a go at you, Rick.
No.
Look, listen. You know what, Chris?
I really am.
I get it. We're all upset. We're all angry. I'm never normally that angry on this show because, you know, when we lose away from home or we lose at home, I accept it. I've been to plenty of games home away and we lose. But this was a very, very important game. I would go as far as say it's probably one of our most important games this season so far, right? And you can't mess around with something. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I just feel there was no injuries. We played on Sunday. It's Wednesday. There's no excuses to not start with that starting 11, get the job done, go 2 up, and then bring some players off. You could then bring Son on and just crack on. And that's it. And then, you know, we would have had a home tie in the quarters.
Gaz, I
hate this
honestly,
club. I hate this club.
I agree with you. We've got 5 substitutions. We can use 5 substitutions.
Yeah.
So if that's keeping the side the way it was, apart from let's say Porro, right, and Sarr, okay, because the young one we're going to give Skippy a bit of a rest, okay, or we're going to bring him off. But all right, cool. You make those 2 there. You can make 5 substitutions and totally change the game after 2-0 up. So I'm 100% with you. I'm just trying to go, all right, and cool. What was the thinking behind these changes?
Like devil's advocate, I get it.
No, and why were they doing that? I wanted Dan Juma to have a go tonight. I didn't want Sonny to start tonight. I love Sonny. Sonny's one of my favorite players. But in this particular game, I was like, you know what? He's a big brute. He's strong. He's got pace. If he goes on that left-hand side, he can dribble past a couple of these players. We've got to remember that Sheffield United had like 3 youngsters playing in their starting 11 tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was 3.
Players out as well, didn't they? Because they had illnesses.
They had a ton of players. But they were organised. They had their game plan. They were a unit. They you know, it was up to us to bring the attacking intent. They could defend. They could put everyone, and not that they did the whole time, but they could put everyone behind the ball and stay in their half if they wanted to, and be praised for a defensive performance.
Do you know what, Ricky? Just quickly, like what Richard mentioned, a perfect example of that game tonight where you knew we were going to lose it, and probably where Sheffield United thought we're going to win this game, is when you've got someone like Sanchez on that pitch instead of Romero. Because Sanchez, God bless him, 42 million we paid for him. He's just dog shit, mate. He's dog shit. He fell over himself, tripped over himself. Every time he was trying to defend, he was horrific. Now, if Romero's on that pitch, straight away, mate, Sheffield United are thinking, oh, shit, we've got a tough game here. But when Sanchez is on that pitch, they're thinking, do you know what? I fancy this. We got this donkey at the back. We can get a result here. I mean, but also, I will say just quickly, and I'm not making excuses because we deserve to lose because we're bottle jobs and we started a shit team, so I'm glad we're out. We deserve all we get. But that referee was a wanker. And one of their players should have been sent off tonight. And I don't care. We probably still would have lost with them with 10 men. I accept that. But they should have been down to 10 men. That I will say, because that ref was bang out of order. That tackle on Perisic, mate, was awful. And I don't even think we got a free kick for that.
No.
I mean, that's just shocking. But look, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. I'm angry. I'm all those things. Because Chris, like you, I was there in 91 when we won it. 1991, when I walked out of that stadium winning the FA Cup, did I think I'd be doing a YouTube show 33 years later, still saying we can't get to a final? It's an absolute joke. It's a piss take. It's the FA Cup. This was the best opportunity we had this year to get to the fucking final because most of the good teams are out. And what do we go and do? Change the team around, mess it up, and go out like bottle jobs to Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. Come on, don't take the piss. Piss take.
Rick, let's go back to the starting 11. What do you think?
Honestly, bro, I was kind of down for a bit of rotation, but a bit like Gaz, I you know, the back 3 I think should have stayed the same. I think Davies in for Perisic I thought should have stayed the same as well. and then a bit of rotation throughout the side. So that's when I saw it. But you know what, Gazzy? I know you're talking about Sanchez, and you talk about that big ass slip. It wasn't even that. He started in the first 5-10 minutes. There was a couple of slips, and then even that bit where we had a pass, we had a pattern of play. He passed it out to the right hand side. We're in their half, and he couldn't control it and pass it again. He fumbled. His foot done this, and then the Sheffield United player just took it off.
And Ricky, what does it make us look like? What does it make us look like as a team? Do you know what I mean? Vulnerable. We're there for the taking. You know what I mean?
Every year, bruv. Every year, same thing happens, and we do it every year. We'll play our second side, and we'll go out, and then we go, "What the hell happened?"
I don't want to just circle out Sanchez because it's not fair. Because he wasn't the only one that was shit tonight. There was a lot of shit players for Tottenham tonight. You know what I mean? And I feel bad for you, Chris. Like what the boys said. Bramall Lane ain't round the corner, mate. You know.
The thing is, when you make 6 changes, and I always say this, whenever players are coming into the team that don't really get regular game time, it's about taking opportunities. It's about grabbing your opportunity as well. And I feel like this FA Cup it feels like it means so much to the fan base to try and put this trophy in the cabinet.
Yeah.
Honestly, 32 years. I'm like a broken record year after year
Chris,
after year.
was you at the final in 91, Chris?
Sorry?
Was you at the final in 91?
I was only a young kid, so no.
The only one that was there, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I was there.
Was you there, Rich?
No.
Yep.
Yeah, so just
Rich
was there. But honestly, mate, honestly, I'm so angry because I generally think we had a very good opportunity to get to the final here. I mean, look who we would have got in the quarters, and then you're 2 games away. I mean, and listen, I'll say it on the show now, I couldn't give a monkeys. I was willing to finish out of the top 4 and win the FA Cup. And if you said to me, you finish out of the top 4, I'll still win the league, but all you get is the FA Cup, I couldn't give a shit, mate. I'm happy with that. When we do the little bus thing, I'm going up there and I'm enjoying the moment that we've won a trophy. I couldn't give a shit about any other club. I couldn't care less. But now we're going to win nothing and Arsenal still might win the league. And what's top 4? What are we going to do in top 4 like we do every season? Nothing. Sick of it. I'm sick of it. I know Levy and Nick, all them boys and half the Tottenham fan base are all top 4s are more important than the trophy and everything. Give me the FA Cup, mate. You know what I mean? It was the same with the Carabao Cup. They rotated it and we went out because they don't give a shit. I'm sick of it. But they don't care about the fans, Chris. If they cared about the fans, they'd have put the same 11 out to beat Chelsea and we would have stuffed them 3 or 4-0. They don't give a shit.
Ricky, let me come back to you.
Sorry, I'm so fucking angry.
Roy Wright's on the screen now. As soon as I saw the team, I was shocked. We should have gone strong, taken control of them, dressed Harry Kane and a couple of others. Would you have started, if it was your choice, Rick, would you have started Harry Kane tonight?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course, it's an FA Cup knockout game. It's a knockout game. He's just scored another one on the weekend. He's 6, 7, 8. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's keep it. Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Let's keep it going. Of course I would. And Harry Kane is not just a number 9. He's not just a number 10. He's a number 8 as well. Do you know what I mean? He'll drift back. He has been like, even in the, I can't remember what game it was. He didn't score. I think it was the Fulham game, but he just played really well. He was just the
passing and everything.
Up and down the pitch. It was one of those. He doesn't take it like a Romero scruff of the neck, but he's more like a Gerrard scruff of the neck. Do you know what I mean? He does it with his performances, and he's everywhere, and he's trying to make things happen. So of course, mate, of course I would have started Harry Kane, but you know, like, mate, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. It's a knockout game. It's an FA Cup game. We want to do something. We want to go somewhere. And also, Rich, you can jump in, bro. But also, let's also remember that we made subs early enough to have an effect on this game, and we still didn't have an effect on this game.
Yeah.
Rich,
go on, Rich. Jump in.
I think for me, I think the starting lineup was wrong. Like you say, Chris, too many changes. We haven't got the strength in depth, but also when players are out injured, it has a massive impact on the quality of the team. So Benzema not being in the team has a massive impact on the quality. Big miss, especially in those kind of key moments. Ramiro, obviously, massive miss in the back 3. there was no intensity. That first half, we should have been coming off the first half full of confidence, going, we just need to kind of play the same team till 60 minutes, take off Harry Kane, take off Kulusevski, and then kind of put the other players on that need to have some game time. I think Perisic was very poor tonight, very poor. I think he did one good cross, which Kane had towards the end, and the rest was just poor. I think the passing was very poor. Sonny had a couple of opportunities where he could have got his shot off first time. He took 2 or 3 touches and was closed down. For me, you need to have momentum, and the momentum that we had through the Chelsea game should have continued into the start of this game, and they should have gone to dominate them from minute one instead of just sit back and go, actually, we just play as though we're a top 4 Premier League team, and we just pick them off. It was just weak, poor. Sheffield United were just bullying us on the ball illegally a lot of the time. They should have had a couple of yellow cards for some dangerous tackles. There was Robinson pulled Lucas's shirt off at one point. It didn't even get a yellow card, and I think that really set the tone to say that Spurs were in for a real good physical game, but we didn't have the physical mentality on the pitch at all. We had a lot of players that were either out of confidence in front of goal, as in Richarlison, out of match fitness with Moura, Perisic in some cases, even though he's played a lot of game time. And then you've got at the back three. If you say to any other Premier League team, would you be happy? Sanchez, Dyer, Davis.
Terrible.
Nobody. Not even Bournemouth.
No.
Not even Bournemouth would. Terrible. You need to play your best players in your, like Gary, like Ricky's already said, your most important game of the season up to now was tonight.
Yeah.
To win that, to go into the quarterfinals, and then we move on. Now you think we're taking the poor performance, continually misfiring from people like Richarlison, we're taking that into the rest of the games that we've got, into the AC Milan game. Do you know what I mean? We're taking that, and he's got to summon some good form from somewhere instead of Harry started. We go 2 or 3 up in the first half, gaining confidence. Harry's obviously in a good vein of form in front of goal. You have him there supporting Richarlison. Richarlison gets like a bit of a scuff, scores, and then he takes that form into the rest of the week. But at the moment, I just think it's a mishmash. Do the management actually realise how important the game was today? Because clearly I don't think they did.
Yeah, I really don't think they do though, Rich. You know that's the thing for me, Rich. That starting that team, I really genuinely don't think they don't realise how important it is, or they don't give a shit. Because to change that team how they did, when we was on the momentum, we just got a great result against Chelsea. All the players are fit. Why would you not just start that team? It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Unless you're looking at it like they looked at the Carabao Cup and they're like, do you know what? We want to focus on trying to stay in that top 4. And if we stay in that FA Cup a bit longer, it's going to cause us a problem. So they purposely went out of Carabao. I don't think for a minute they wanted to go anywhere in the Carabao, because that was shit as well. They were poor, the team, when we went out of that. That was pathetic. And the same tonight. So are they looking at it thinking, well, we want to get a good run in the Champions League, but we want to finish in top 4? Because starting that team with the players that we did and the way they played, they didn't want to win that game. So,
Gary, there's no way the likes of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son don't care about this competition. They want a trophy as much as we do.
Well, he might have wanted it, but he's going to get it as much as I am, because he was just sitting on the seat like I was. So it's pointless. It's a waste of time.
Rich,
you start him, didn't you? So,
Rich, let's come back to you. Stephen writes here, seeing 6 changes, I called it before a ball was kicked pathetic. This is on Conte. We as fans have seen this year after year after year, and I'll go back to that Colchester game again, of not starting the strongest possible 11.
Stupid.
Why do we do this when it's such an important game to go through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup?
Naivety, isn't it? Naivety. Why wouldn't you play your key players in those key moments of your season. That's what it all boils down to. You need those leaders on the pitch. Dyer was captain from the start. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
I think he's improved over the last couple of weeks. But I think he's improved because of Romero. Because Romero set the tempo. I don't think he's a true leader. I think apart from that, I think Højbjerg today, I think he just looked very tired.
that header back, tired. That was terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And like you were saying about past results where we've just let the potential progression in a competition just fly by us because of the naivety about you just go into a game and you win it. It just doesn't happen. You have teams like Sheffield United that bully you off the park. Middlesbrough did it the other year. They just bullied us, had one moment, score, and then go through. Why do we continue to do it? I think it's we haven't got the squad, the second 11 that comes in. I don't think are good enough. We're still looking for that player that can dissect the lines. That Ericsson player that I every time go on about. Somebody that can come on that can change the game. We just bring on players that are very similar. Like Kulusevski coming on, very similar to Moura, better than Moura, but very similar. We need to have somebody creative. The young lad that was playing for Sheffield United today, that's on loan from Man City, Doyle, he was the man of the match, and he was on loan from Man City, and he's just a young player that's applying his trade at a lower level of football. And for me, we need to have a world-class player in that position that either plays from the start or comes off and has a drastic change. Kane today, when he came on, didn't really get a touch. And that's because we weren't playing to Kane's strengths.
Yeah. Rich, what did you think of Richarlison? What did you think of Richarlison season?
I think it's either trying too hard. I think obviously technically for Brazil, completely different to Spurs. I think obviously playing through the middle, him, Kane, Sonny can all play through the middle. But like a lot of players, you need to have a string of games. You can't just go straight into that position and expect to. You need to have the bullets for the gun, right? You need, and he's not got he didn't have the crosses to get onto. He didn't. I think his touch was a little bit off tonight. A couple of the shots that he took were terrible. Confidence going up forwards now, it's not going to help. I think we need to go back to the drawing board of how we utilise players like him, especially confidence players. I still think he could become good, but at the moment, him and Sonny are weak in that top three.
Gary, do you think any Spurs player performed and put a shift in this evening?
No, not really. No, I wouldn't. I mean, I think they're all shit. I mean, maybe you could say Moura did a few good runs, but they were all just really bad. They were all shit. I'm very disappointed. I'll be honest with you. I think it's looking very likely that Woolwich are going to win the league, right? And for me, the only thing that would have probably helped me with that, and it might sound mad to some fans, and I was talking about it down the gym earlier with Spurs fans, and there's Arsenal fans there and everything else, and I said, look, it's looking like they're probably going to win the league. And for me, if we was to win the FA Cup, that would take a bit of the pain away for me, because I'd enjoy us winning the trophy. It's been 91 since the FA Cup, 2008 since the Carabao, but the FA Cup I class bigger than the Carabao Cup. So for me, that would have taken some of the pain away. Now, is finishing in the top four and Arsenal winning the league going to take the pain away for me? No, it's not. So I'll say it on the show now. If we finish in the top four, yippee. If Arsenal win the league, it means nothing to me, mate. I'm sick to death of it. Getting in top four every year to win nothing. I want a trophy. I'm sick to death. And Poch was the same. As much as everyone loves a Poch, he never took these competitions seriously. And he'd always start a shit team. And we started a shit team tonight and we're out. And we're looking up at Arsenal thinking they're going to win the league. And what are we going to win? Nothing. You're not winning nothing when you finish in the top 4. We're not winning the Champions League. The only trophy, the only competition where the good chance of winning was that one tonight. That was the biggest game of our season. There probably won't be a bigger game all season because we're not going to win the Champions League, are we? Let's be honest about it. So for me, that's it. Season's done, really. That's it.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
For me, it is.
Come on, Gary.
I'll
give you a hug later. I'll give you a hug later, Gary.
For me, it is. For me, I wanted us to win this FA Cup, mate, because it's looking like they're going to win the league. So for me, if we won a trophy after a long drought and they won the league, that would take the pain away. But the reality is now they're going to win the league and we're going to win fuck all. And if we finish in top 4, I couldn't give a shit because we do top 4 nearly every season. Drop me out of the top 4. Let me finish 6th or 7th and win the FA Cup. And I would have been happy with that, mate.
But Gaz, you know what? That side, all right, however many changes there were, okay, and we can talk about rhythm and match fitness, okay? We can talk about those things because those things are factors. But that side tonight, I don't care what anybody says, should have been good enough to. There's no excuses why they lost tonight.
You're right.
Good enough.
You're 100% right with that, Ricky. You're right with that. In theory and on paper,
we had
should be good enough to go to Bramall Lane and beat Sheffield United. But in reality, they're not good enough because players like Sanchez, who we paid 42 million for, are absolute dog shit. The worst Sheffield United player tonight was better than Sanchez, and that's the cold truth of it, you know. And that's why, if the wheels are spinning and we got a good result against Chelsea, you just take that into the most important game because that game tonight was more important than the Chelsea game. So
I hear what you're saying, bro, but we've been looking for depth and we've been looking for we've said during the season how we wanted some of those other players to get some game time as well. Do you know? So I'm looking at that team and I'm seeing £60 million Richarlison. You know, I'm seeing Sonny there. I'm seeing Lucas, who's an experienced player. I'm seeing Højbjerg, who's an experienced player. I've seen Sarr, who done well in Milan. You know, I'm seeing £40 million Pedro Porro, who's.
I hear you.
I hear you, Ricky. Sanchez. No, listen, and I get it with Sanchez, and to say, and I say this a lot. None of us, and I hope I can speak for all of us, but none of us want to slag off our own players.
No, definitely not. No.
I would love it if Sanchez had a worldie tonight, and I would sing his praises tonight if he had a worldie. But let me tell you, it is nothing that Sheffield United done that made him that caused the frailties and the mistakes that Sanchez made tonight. They were all his own. He tripped over his own feet. It's like his shoelaces was undone from minute 5.
And do you know what, Ricky? Do you know what you're saying is spot on, right? With Moura, with Son. Like, I totally get you with that. But what I would say to that, because it's good to have this debate and be on the show and do all this, what I would say is, those 3 players are not in form and have just come back from injury. So don't risk them players because Porro started for Tottenham really badly. Moura's come back from injury and Son's been missing for most of the season. So what I would say in a game of this magnitude, this importance, don't risk rocking the apple cart too much. Start with the team that beat Chelsea and get the job done because bringing in Porro, starting Son, bringing in Sanchez, all those things combined, cost us the game.
Richarlison, and
I agree.
And like you said, Rich, earlier, like, you know, Perisic, it was a really poor game from him. I thought, I don't think he helped us at all. Now, on Porro, when I was saying flashes, right? When I say flashes, there were a couple. So that there was a long cross with the right-hand foot that Sonny brought down dead. Yeah. Do you remember that long-ass cross?
Yeah.
He brought it down dead. And you know, if but a maybe, that could have been something. Do you know what I mean? The ball that went into Richarlison, where he hit it over the bar, but you should have got it on target, you know? So there were flashes. Every time Sonny in the first half tried to do a little dribble.
What game was it?
He got stopped.
Was it against Morecambe when we was losing? I think we brought on a few players and then we finally, I think we scored in the 80th, in the 85th. It was a similar thing. We just got out of jail and that could have happened tonight. We could have got out in jail against Sheffield United, but I just think to myself, Why risk it? Why?
No, I agree with you, brother. I agree with you.
I mean, look, listen.
That side should have been able to
Rich
win tonight,
Rich is
bro.
saying it's not that bad. I get it, Rich. If you don't feel as bad as I do about it, that's, I'm glad. But for me, I'm fucking fuming. I'm raging with this team in this club. I'm absolutely fucking raging with them because it's 32, 33 years for the FA Cup. This was such a good opportunity to get into the quarters. And look who it would have been. We'd had a home tie against them idiots. We'd have been in the semi-final. Listen, who knows? Maybe in hindsight, it's better to go out now than get to the final and lose, I guess. That's one way of looking at it, because we probably would have blew it anyway. But we had such a good chance. It's so frustrating.
I tell you what really does me, all right? What really does me is that we've had confidence crisis, but especially this year, all right? Especially 2023. Yeah. We've been up and down, up and down, up and down, and we just started hitting the curve again, up, 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 and we get to a cup game where not every fan wants it. Conte's a winner; he wants a cup in the cabinet as well. Yeah. Kane, Son, Hugo, we've spoken about this for I don't know how long. Those players that do deserve to lift the trophy, and for all of us to go down the high road and celebrate, right? Yeah. So it's like we had all of these things, and I just don't understand how that 11 can't go out there and get the job done. Look, barring Sanchez, I think unfortunately, Sanchez has all the attributes to be a great bloody well player. He does. But he messes himself up all the time. Why is it always Sanchez that slips like that?
He's just
it's
so
always
nervous.
Sanchez.
He makes me nervous, and he's so nervous. And look, we wanted it before with Emerson Royale, but he changed things around very, very quickly, Emerson Royale. So we'll give him that. But Sanchez has had how many years? 5 years? 6 years? I mean,
he's been there longer than that.
How many years has it been now, Chris? Longer than 6?
2017, I think he signed it.
6 years. Yeah.
Okay, 6.
Probably just feels longer. I just think to myself, though, it's a bit like, like in the first sort of 5-10 minutes, like we spoke about Sanchez, it's the same with a goalkeeper. If he drops the ball or he's a bit shaky, it puts the team under pressure. I think, with the back lot that we had there and with the way Sanchez was playing, I just think straight away, the confidence was just building. And the longer the game went on, like what Rich, and you mentioned it as well, Ricky, I was watching that game, and the amount of sidewards and backward passes were just painful to watch. And it was never boom, boom, boom. It was just pass, back, sideways, back, there, back. And ultimately, that's because you don't have Romero on the pitch. You don't have Kane on the pitch. You're missing those sort of players that would then, just do a nice little tackle, run a pass through Kane's vision, flicking it on for Son if he was on, or Richarlison. But we didn't have nothing, man. We had nothing in midfield. On top of that, we had a shit defence. And we started with Moura, who's not match fit, and with Son, who's out of form. And Richarlison, look, I like Richarlison. I really, really do. And I love the way he winds up the players and stuff like that. But even him tonight, I mean, that shot he done nearly went out for a fucking throw-in, didn't it? Chris, what do you think? Do you think it was the team? Like, what do you think Sheffield United were great? What made us lose tonight? What do you think made us fucking lose?
Sheffield United were decent, but as a lot of people have said, and as we all know, they made a number of changes today. Their manager was up in the gantry as well.
Yeah.
So he wasn't in the dugout. There are lots of things. We made too many changes. We've been here so many times. I feel like I've already done this show because I feel like this is like Middlesbrough all over again. Colchester.
Colchester,
where I'm feeling like I am now, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I'm so angry. I'm so angry with it.
And I always feel like this when we go out of a cup competition because I want the cup so badly. I really do. There's nothing I want more, as Ricky just said, than see the bus parading down the high road past our lovely stadium to lift a trophy. It's just so long. I'm so angry. I'm so bored of keep having the same conversations about.
And the thing is, right? And you're right, Chris. Listen. Look, we shouldn't listen and take notice of rival fans, but. We are a joke. We're a laughing stock. We really are. Now, if we fall out of the top 4, I don't know. Let's say, for argument's sake, Arsenal do win the league, okay? And we finish 6th, but we win the FA Cup. Are we going to be a laughing stock? No. At the moment, we're not going to win any trophy again. And then we fall out of the top 4. We're going to look like a laughing stock then. Yes. So that getting that FA Cup and getting through and going on a run was almost a bit of a safety net for us because, you know, it's just a matter of time we're going out of Champions League, Chris. We're not winning it. We know we ain't. Look, I would love nothing more than get to the end of the season and you play this back and I say, I made a mistake. We won the Champions League. But in reality, we're not winning the Champions League. We probably won't even turn it around at home against Milan. So that's gone. Are we going to get top 4? Possibly. But Newcastle might nick 4th spot. We're not going to finish 2nd or 3rd. And Arsenal are probably going to win league. So the only thing I was holding on to was like, do you know what? We've got a very good opportunity to win the FA Cup because all the big teams, Patley, were out. They're all out. I know you got what you got left of there? Man U, City.
Man United and Man City are the 2 teams.
That's it. There's nothing else. Do you know what I mean? And listen, as silly as it sounds tonight after losing to Sheffield United, on our day, we're capable of beating any of those teams. We went up to Man United and absolutely spanked them, humiliated them. I don't even mention City. We know the score was City. We can beat them on our day. But we've gone out to Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. Now, part of that is, yes, the referee was very biased and there were some very bad decisions there. But ultimately, we've gone out because we've started a different shit team. And that's why we're out. And that's why we're here again on your show, Chris, talking about the same things. And next season, when the season starts, we're going to go out the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup the exact same way because we're not going to start with our best and strongest 11. So we deserve all we get.
Ricky, in the 8th minute, Lucas Moura.
We've only got to the 8th minute.
But we're not even starting, have we? Actually, after 5 minutes, Sheffield United had a header over the bar from a corner. After 8 minutes, Lucas Moura had a chance to square it to Richarlison. I wanted to ask your opinion on Lucas Moura because, of course, we know he's leaving Tottenham Hotspur at the end of this season. Was it right to play Lucas Moura this evening?
Oh, I don't know whether it was the right decision to start him, but I tell you what, for me, he was a bright spark, and he started getting things popping. Like I said, first time passing, he was making a pass and a run before it even happened. Do you know what I mean? And that got Sheffield United on the back foot. There was also a lovely bit of play between Lucas and Richarlison, and I think Porro, but it was basically like they was flicking it about. It was like Brazil for about 30 seconds, where they got to have a shot off as well, but obviously didn't go nowhere. But you know, Lucas does bring that, and he is a very well-liked, well-loved, well-respected player. And with Lucas, you know, we know anything can happen. The one thing he doesn't do is follow the rules. So, you know what I mean? Like, for a Conte strict, rigid system, he's not one of those that follow the rules. He tries to break those lines, and he does try risky passes or a risky run or something. And that's what I saw him doing tonight, and he was the brightest spark for me. Now, taking him off tonight, I personally, I didn't want to take him off. Just because I felt he was the only one that was progressing our play. When Kulu came on, I didn't see anything from Kulu tonight. That was another flat performance from him as well. So for me, you know, even though I wouldn't have chose to start him, the fact that they did start him, he was the brightest spark in the side, and he gives me confidence as a super sub, or again if we have to start him, you know. I think he overall, the time that he had on the field, I think it was a good showing from him for his first start in a long while.
Yeah, but it didn't really influence the game though, did he? Like,
nobody did though, Rich.
No,
that's why for me he was the
the
brightest
best out of the bad bunch.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
And like I said before, I think when you're bringing somebody off the bench, it needs to be something different. We brought players on and took players off of very similar ilk. It had nothing different. So Kulusevski struggled because he was told to do exactly the same thing as what Moura was doing before. We need to have plan B. It was the same old tosh, and Kane went up there and they just marked him out of the game. I think the first half you could probably say in like 3 words: we were shit. That's it.
Well, Rich, after 15 minutes, Heung-min Son, he had our first shot on target, tried to curl it in the far post, comfortable for the goalkeeper. 6 minutes later, Sarr with a long-range effort on target, easy for the goalkeeper again. And then a real great chance for us after 29 minutes. Sanchez played a great ball forward to Richarlison, who blasted over the bar. He's got to be getting that on target, hasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. I'd never thought you'd actually say Sanchez and great in the same sentence.
Well, I'm trying.
No, let's just say lucky ball through. I think he was clearing the ball. And it went to Richarlison.
Nah, Rich, don't do that to him. Listen, let's be fair. We'll critique him when he's critiqued. He put a good ball in. He put one good pass in. That's it.
No, forget it. They're all shit, man. They're all shit. All fucking shit. Like Gary said, shit. All of them.
Yeah.
The frustrating thing is, it's like, when you try and hold on to the little things, like Moura did a nice little turn on 7 minutes. No, man. No, you have to say how it is. Look, we were nowhere good enough. That opportunity for Richarlison, if that fell for Harry, 1-0.
Yeah.
Straight away. 1-0. 1-0, then Richarlison.
That's why you start him,
at half time. That's exactly right. And
yeah.
I think I don't know whether it was because the Spurs management saw that Sheffield United had a lot of illness within the team, and they decided to make 6 changes, but massively affected the game. The opportunities that we had weren't cutthroat chances. Even the goal that they scored, mistake from like Sanchez didn't close down the ball.
Sanchez could have got
close down the ball. It was through Dyer's legs. Fraser Foster
was poor.
It took him about 29 minutes to get down to the ball, and then he got his foot to it, and he couldn't keep it out. Up until that point, I thought maybe he's got a future with the team, but like I said before, there's players that were in our squad that in September they need to be gone straight away. No ifs and buts. They need to be gone. 1 or 2 players have showed their worth, like Davis. Obviously, steady Davis. He's done quite well over the last couple of weeks. But so many players that should go. And Richarlison, like you're saying on that effort, he should get it on target. But the reason why he didn't, because the pressure. He's on the field in that position, and he's obviously not been playing well in front of goal. I think he's done a lot of work off the ball that's been quite progressive. Not anything brilliant in front of goal. You need to have Harry show him the way. You need to give him that. Like I said, you need to have one of those shank moments like Sonny had when he came off when he scored that hat trick when he came off the bench.
Leicester.
It's Leicester.
Yeah.
Shanked one of the I think the first one kind of got a deflection and went in.
Yeah.
And then that built his confidence, but he's still not really built off that.
No.
Richarlison needs one of those, really. But I think all that first half was very, very, very poor.
We did have chances, though, Rich, because it could have been very different. 2 minutes later, Lucas Moura had a chance. He blasted it over the bar. And then 5 minutes before half-time, Lucas Moura hit the crossbar. Was that a shot? Was it a cross?
Yeah,
I can't believe you're saying we had chances. We didn't have chances. We didn't.
But Lucas Moura and Richarlison were not clinical. They did not take their opportunities tonight, the two of them.
I don't think the build-up play was good enough. I think when you're the chance that Moura had was a cross. It wasn't even a chance. It was just like it literally had his head down. He was like praying. He had his head down, praying to get it past the first man. It hits across the top of the crossbar and it goes out. It was useless. That first half, I did not see any clear opportunities at all, apart from the Richarlison one, which he screwed up, and the rest was crap.
I mean,
Chris,
there is
don't
one
tell
positive.
me they had chances. We didn't have no chances.
There is one positive that I can bring out of tonight, and that is Arsenal, Chelsea, or West Ham can't win the FA Cup. So that is one positive. But it's a double-sided sword because that was such a good opportunity for us. But at least we don't have to face Arsenal, Chelsea, or West Ham winning the bloody FA Cup because that would just make it even worse. Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, Gary, I couldn't care less what all these other clubs do.
I do. You see, now this is the thing, right? I do care what they do, and if Arsenal win the league, I am going to care about it. And I will have rows and arguments with people down the gym who are Arsenal fans, and I will kick off, and it will piss me off that we've blown the FA Cup. And that's me, because I hate Arsenal more than I love Tottenham, because a lot of the time I hate Tottenham, because they're bottle jobs like tonight. So I hate Arsenal, and I hate Chelsea, and that's why I don't want them winning the league, and that's why I do care what they do, because it's very important to me that they don't win anything and they fuck up, like what we do every year.
Chris, I've got a question though. Why do we all think that we have a game like against Chelsea or Man City, and then we can't replicate that performance like week in, week out? Why do we think that is?
We have never been consistent. This is what is so frustrating, and this is what I just don't understand. How you can beat champions one week, go up to Leicester, get thumped up there. Come back, beat West Ham, beat Chelsea, and then have a result like this.
Yeah.
I can't accept it. I just don't understand it. That is the
Thursday.
It's a reflection of this season. That particular week, Chris, that Man City game being our best game of the season, and then that Leicester game being our worst game of the season, happening within a week.
Yeah,
that's a reflection of our season, and that's what troubles me about this result tonight as well. Is how these boys pick themselves up and go again. Because, like I was saying, we were climbing the curve. We were going up. We was on an upward trajectory, and then we've hit this in a cup game, in a you know, like an all-in game where you've got to put all your chips on the table in this game. Otherwise, it's win or lose. And we've done that, and it's
the same as last year, though, Rick. It's the same as last year.
And the Conference League and all of that palaver.
Yeah.
And that was all the second string.
Look at us, Chris, when we went to Vitesse and lost 1-0. You know, I was probably just as angry as I am tonight. You know what I mean? Because for me, I wanted to win Europa Conference. People laughed at that, but I said to them, listen, if we win Europa Conference, it's a trophy.
I'm with you. What was the game at home? That was the worst one. I think it was Conte's first game where he had to make 3 subs. I think Lucas, Kane, and somebody else, Sonny maybe. And then we ended up winning the game. But we were together. We were together for that one.
But that's the one we were all together.
Yeah. Moura.
Moura. Yeah, God Almighty, that's it.
Who the hell are who are Moura? And we had to do that. So you know, I'm fed up with it as well.
I remember they scored like a proper good goal, didn't they, Moura? They scored a banging goal.
Actually, this show is like Pacos to Pereira all over again.
Yeah.
I forgot about it, bro. My God.
Yeah,
Pereira, look, I was having a Ferrero Rocher just then before I came on. Look.
All I'm having, look, this is all I got tonight because I've been screaming and shouting, man.
I think you're going to need a
Most
boxer.
Most of that was directed at Sanchez.
Well, Sheffield United had a chance just before half-time. Koulibaly shot wide after a mistake from Højbjerg. Rich, let's come back to you because Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has been a real rock for us this season. But even his performance this evening was poor.
Yeah, it was. I blame Sanchez for that mistake as well.
You know, this is because we didn't play Emerson Royale. You know, that's why we lost, isn't it?
My goodness.
Can I just say that there's been a number of comments in saying why was Emerson Royale dropped, but he did actually have a knock to his knee. That is
he weren't even on the bench, was he?
No.
Nah, I thought that.
Yeah, I think Højbjerg just looked tired today. I think his decision making on the ball, he just looked very laboured with his approach to the game, and so did a lot of the players. Do you know, even that last 5 minutes where we're chasing the game, they're very passive. Why are we not at one moment did we think, actually, let's get Fraser Foster in the box? He's like 6 foot, 12. Get him in the box. Just like pile the balls in. Have something different. Just nothing. Yeah. But like you're saying, Højbjerg, I think Skippy would have been better starting than Højbjerg, I think, tonight. I think at least he'd have the drive, hopefully, that he had against Chelsea, where he was getting really stuck in. The players did the players didn't even do that, apart from Sar's challenge where he got booked. We didn't really get stuck in tonight, which I think when you go a goal down, you've got to do something different to get back into the game. And if it doesn't come from the bench, it needs to come from on the pitch itself. And that for me was the worrying thing, that the players weren't putting themselves out, going, actually, I'm going to get stuck in here. I'm going to try and make a change of the kind of atmosphere on the pitch, make something happen. And I think Højbjerg sometimes has been that player, but with Bentancur next to him. And I think he's missing that leadership, because sometimes if Højbjerg has a shitty game where he's not really in the game, then Bentancur bails him out a bit. I think today it was calling for one of those moments where Bentancur hits one from about 25 yards into the bottom right hand corner, where Højbjerg, I think tonight he just looked very tired. I think, never mind Harry having a rest, I think Højbjerg needs one. But anyway, why should the players need a rest? Do you know what I mean? Why should they?
It was Sunday. They played Sunday.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? With Højbjerg tonight, he switched off a couple of times, but he switched off for the goal as well. When it hit him, it bounced up, and it was like he just totally switched off. Normally, he froze all over that. Like he froze.
Yeah.
And it wasn't one of those deflections where, you know, it hits you and you think, oh, it's going off for a corner or it's going out, or it hit him and he just froze and stopped for about 3 seconds, and that was long enough for the melee in the box, and then the guy scores. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted more from Højbjerg. I needed a bit of the Viking tonight, and like you said there, Rich, I think he was, you know, a bit pooped, a bit out on his last legs tonight.
Embarrassing. They played 3 in the centre to our 2, and I think that was also a bad tactical mistake. I think you need to have the numbers in the middle of the park that are really going to battle for you as a team.
Know, it's like what you said, Rich.
To win those duels.
We never looked like scoring though tonight. If I'm honest with you, if you watch back, I mean, I don't know what it felt for you being there, Chris, but watching it on the TV tonight.
We hit the crossbar.
At any point,
hit the crossbar, plus their chances.
No, you'll see that crossbar back. That crossbar is a cross.
Mate.
That's never going in. That's just like a missed kick cross. We never ever looked like scoring tonight. That team that played tonight, Tottenham, were absolute shit. I never saw that team going forward and thought we could get a goal here. They were crap. From defence to midfield to up front, they were proper shit.
If Richarlison and Lucas Moura actually got some shots on target, we might have scored. You know, that shot from Richarlison that we'll come on to in a minute, it nearly hit the corner flag.
Yeah.
I think that sums the night up.
Yeah. Yeah. But we weren't threatening. Do you know what I mean? The best opportunities were Sheffield United. I mean, they should have been one up at half time anyway. You know?
Gary,
I mean,
I think we're probably the most impressed because David's bought me a drink, so thanks, David, and Stephen's just bought you one.
Oh, wow. Cheers, Steve. Tell him I won't spend it on drink, I'll spend it on sweets.
Well, let's crack on to talk about the second half. Half time at 0-0. 3 minutes after the break, Heung-min Son corner, glancing header from Perisic towards goalkeeper, but very tame. Spurs fans were singing Oliver Skip's name in the 51st minute. A couple of minutes later, Heung-min Son on the edge of the box, shot over the bar. This is what I mean. The shots today, every shot was either wide or over the bar. We did have chances. Ricky, what is it about Heung-min Son this season? Still struggling.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew, Chris, because we know what a dynamite player that you know Sonny is, and we know what quality he brings. You can't go from Golden Boot winner to, you know, a B-sided type of player. You know, he's struggled the whole season. He's had a few bright sparks, but he struggled the whole season. And I thought that this kind of period of time, the last couple of games where he's been on the bench, I really did think, all right and cool. And he admitted it within an interview that he done, where he said, you know what, I know I haven't been up to my best, and I know that the Spurs fans expect more from me, and I know I can give more. And so, that was a really refreshing. He didn't shy away from the responsibility that he should take as one of those senior players and one of our world-class players. So he knows it as well. I just don't know, bro. As soon as I see him start to dribble and he gets caught up in his own feet, I know it's not going to be his night. And that's happened a couple of times this season. I still believe in Sonny. Don't get it twisted. I do. I think he's dynamite, and I think that players go through this a lot, and I go back to his first season that he turned up, where he had to try and fight his way to get into the team, and he was a bit kind of, I don't know whether I'm going to stay at Tottenham or I'm going to go, because can I do it here? Can I do it in the Premier League? Can I do it in this team? So you saw the amount of determination he had and the amount of work that he put in to get into that team and stay in that team and be that world-class, reliable Mr. Tottenham player. So I don't think that guy is gone forever. He's going to come back. But, my gosh, Sonny, it needs to come back quickly, mate, because we needed you. We needed you tonight. We needed you to be the man tonight. And whenever we've asked you to be the man, you've stepped up. When Harry Kane, was going to go Man City and he didn't want to play that first game against Man City, who played up top? Who took the responsibility? Sonny. And he went and got the winning goal as well. Sonny, he's a diamond. He's a diamond. He's a diamond. He's one of our best players. The stats will tell you for assists and goals and efforts and runs and heat maps, the lot. Whatever graph you can pull up, he's normally top of, or close to the top of most of them. I just don't know what's happened this year. I don't know whether it's accumulation of that South Korea summer training, then the World Cup, then the beginning of the season we was playing games every 2-3 days as well. Then he's gone to the World Cup, and then straight away they haven't had any rest, any recuperation. Straight back into the Premier League again, beginning of this year. I don't know whether that's had an effect. I don't know whether the mask has had an effect. The fact that he got hurt. Yeah. And some will say these are all excuses for Sonny, but you got to remember some of them are reasons as well. You might call it excuses, but some of them are reasons. And I really hope that he comes back to that guy that we can, the Sonny and the goal celebrations and the smiley, the smiles, and that guy we know and love. I can't wait to see that guy we know and love again. Every time we've seen a hint of it this year, we've held on to it. Yes, go on, Rich.
I think technically, Sonny's he wanted it a little bit too much. He's not been that instinctive player that we've had in the past. The ball's normally come across to him, and he's took that first touch early. Yeah. So he's hit it early, short backswing, bang, back of the net before the keeper moves. Today, there was 2 or 3 opportunities where he just tried to hit it too hard, or he tried to kind of touch. And I've seen that throughout the season. I would say the difference in last season to this season has been his role in the team maybe has changed slightly, but also because of that injury, you're right, Rick. I think the injury to his cheekbone has affected his confidence on the pitch, and also it affected how he controls the ball when he's running with it as well.
Yeah.
Rich, Jerome writes on screen now, modelling and football not go well together, just ask Dele Alli. Sonny is going to be the same.
That's rubbish. That's rubbish.
Don't say that.
What have you made of
man, that's rubbish.
Modelling?
Wicked, that's my favourite. Yeah, that's my favourite shot. I think it's better than our friend. I
got them pants, I wear them on stage.
Gary's going to model with Sonny next night, Gary.
Yeah. I might get him scoring.
Mate,
that's a different. I'm not going to say it.
Listen, guys. Look, professional footballers, professional athletes, when they do that kind of work, it's outside of their work hours on the football pitch. It's nothing to do with his performance on the pitch at all. All that stuff's controlled by the club. So I've got an agent like the footballers have, and obviously Gaz has as well, and Rick. And you know where your bread and butter is, which is your work that you work 9 to 5. and then everything else is on top of it. So I think
it's
the
just
perception
confidence,
is
like what you said. It's just confidence. That's what it is.
it's massive. Yeah, confidence, momentum for sure.
Yeah.
And also to kind of debunk that comment as well. If you've ever seen the sensational documentary on
I
Amazon,
watched it. Yeah.
That the guy works, and he's worked so hard to get here, not only to
Yeah.
Germany, but to get into the Premier League and to be an established player, one that his country can rely on, and Tottenham Hotspur can. And you know, if you know about his dad, the way his dad drills him, and he does
so
extra
strict.
training, and you know that. So it's not that he's not aware. It's not that he doesn't try. Maybe he's trying too hard. Maybe it's meaning too much to him. Maybe he wants to be that player again. You know, and it's just that pressure on him is almost working against him. Maybe, but if you ever want to doubt, you know, if you ever think to doubt Sonny, check out that documentary on Amazon Prime. Sensational, it's called, and it's a fantastic
brilliant
insight to the man and the player.
Actually, don't check out this version because that's the English version. That's only one episode. Check out the Korean version. There's about 8 to 10 episodes.
Yeah.
What?
Those are the ones to watch.
Where'd you find that?
It's online. You can.
All right.
During COVID, they merged all of these. I think it was 8 or 10 episodes. They merged them all into one and made the English version. But I'm actually in one of the Korean episodes.
You can get it on. You can get it on that stick. Get on that stick that you have to pay for.
Yeah, I got one of them.
No idea what stick.
I got one of those.
Gary's selling them as a bit of a sideline.
Yeah, I can get you one, Rick. Don't worry. Cheap. All you got to do is buy me a few bags of Haribo's and we're sorted.
Well, before we get closed down, let's talk about the 61st minute. Richarlison had a shot from 20 yards, Rich, nearly hit the corner flag. He is yet to score in the Premier League for Spurs. He's only scored 2 goals all season. They go to the Champions League. 4 minutes later, Harry Kane come on for Richarlison. How would you describe Richarlison's performance and his time at Spurs so far?
Like average, isn't it? Average. Yeah. There's somebody on the commentary today said, obviously, as a striker, you're judged on your goals or your goal assists, and he's been very average, obviously, this season. I think he's had to adapt to the role that will play at Spurs. I was really looking forward to seeing him play in that position that Harry normally takes, and I think he really didn't take his opportunity today. But like you said, Chris, he had that opportunity where if he one-on-one with the keeper, a little bit of pressure from the centre-back from Sheffield United. If he'd got that on target, he'd have scored probably, and the confidence then would have been affected in that positive way. I think Richarlison, £60 million as well. We expect more from him, not just the effort on the pitch, not just bullying other players. You've got other players in the team to do that. I think Richarlison, Sonny and Harry are players that you expect a certain amount of goals. I would expect from Richarlison 15 goals a season. And then that cements you obviously top 3 challenging for the title kind of position where we're at the moment. Because of lack of consistency, we're miles away from that. Richarlison's form, as well as Sonny's, is a massive reason why we're not actually achieving the things that we should be doing as a team. You look at the quality we've got through the team and that front line, very similar to when it was like Harry, Sonny, and Bale. You've got really good players in those 4 positions. I think we all know what Spurs need. We need to have that creative player in midfield to support our forward 3. Conte won't play that kind of creative player in that 3 up front, but I think we need to have somebody that comes either off the bench and does that as a plan B to support people like Richarlison. I also think Richarlison's time at Spurs has been affected by service, and he's not had a massive amount of service. You look at goal scoring opportunities that Richarlison's had that he's fluffed. Apart from today, he's not had a massive amount of them. And that's probably what's worrying to me, that he's not actually getting the opportunities in front of goal.
Gary, let's come to you. Let's talk about Pedro Porro. In the 71st minute, he had a shot with his left foot over the bar. A couple of minutes later, Lucas Moura and Sarr went off. Kulusevski and Skip came on. In the 76th minute, Porro with a long-range effort again went wide. What did you think of his performance today in the Spurs shirt? And of course, you know, his debut was really poor at Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't great tonight either, was he? Let's be honest. I mean, he controlled the ball really well for his shot, and then he just didn't get a proper bend on it. He just snatched it, and it went a bit wide. But overall in the game, he wasn't very good. He done a couple of bad passes, a couple of late tackles. He just didn't look very good, did he? Let's be honest about it. I mean, it's mad when you think about it, because, you know, as the transfer window was just closing, we was begging for him. You know, he was down to the last 5 minutes. And we were thinking, look, we need him in, because Emerson Royale is just an absolute nightmare, you know, at that point. And then a few games later, it's funny how things change. But again, you know, you can't write him off yet. He's going to need time. You know, it's very different coming from where he done to go into the Premier League. And I'm not making excuses, but it's going to take him a bit of time to settle in and, you know, catch up to pace of it and stuff like that. But honestly, his debut was terrible. And tonight, he wasn't much better, you know, and that's the truth. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? Unfortunately.
How's Doherty doing? Can we get Doherty back?
Yeah.
Chris, you must have his number, mate. You're his #1 fan. You must have his number. Come on.
I tell you,
Where's the shirt? Where's the shirt? I bet you got your shirt underneath your top there, haven't you?
Yeah.
You love that Doherty shirt. You love it.
Honestly, I can't believe we're still talking about fullbacks, but I felt that both fullbacks this evening were quite poor. Perisic, Perisic, I thought was poor this evening.
Yeah,
let's come to you on Perisic, because I've got to admit, I expected so much more from him.
Yeah, not good at all, mate. He had a very bad game tonight, and he's not been good, really. I mean, the only thing I like about Perisic is, it doesn't happen often enough, but it almost happened tonight, is when the corner comes in and he flicks it on. He always seems to be there to get that flick on from the corner. Could have got a goal there, you know, or could have at least headed it on and flicked it on for someone. He's done that before, and we've scored like that before. But apart from getting in good positions to flick a corner ball on, he hasn't really done much else. I mean, it's unfortunate, but he's not the youngest of players. Yes, he brings experience and stuff to the club, but ultimately we need more than experience at the moment. You know, we need players that are going to perform. And he didn't have a good game, but, you know, like we spoke about earlier, we all said it. No one really had a good game tonight. You know, I just wonder though, right? When they go in that dressing room tonight after that defeat, do you think they're as disappointed as what the fans are, or do you think they're not that bothered if it's just the FA Cup or what?
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder, so. Were they, forget about the score line, but were they more disappointed and angry that they lost away to Leicester, or were they more disappointed and angry that last night? Because I've got a feeling that I don't think they're that bothered. I don't think they're that bothered about tonight.
Yeah, you said this earlier though, Gary. You know, you can't imagine Harry Kane not being bothered about going out of the FA Cup when, you know, you think about someone like Harry Kane, England captain, going to all of those England camps, you know, all the time, and every single player is saying, "Oh look, Premier League trophy, oh Premier League medal, FA Cup winners medal." You know, the amount of teammates that he's got for England, you know, picking up medal after medal after medal. Look at Christian Eriksen, for example. Yeah. Gone off to Inter Milan, won the title there, just won the Carabao Cup the other day, picked up a couple of medals since leaving Spurs. It's just.
And don't forget, in between that, he died for about 8 minutes.
Well, there you are. And some of these players, they must be very, very frustrated.
You know, that's the reality of it.
Honestly, I can't even laugh about it. I feel so frustrated.
It's the truth, though, isn't it? When you actually think about it. Do you know what I mean? But, like, the thing that I'm thinking is, if it means that much to Harry Kane and stuff like that, surely he has to have a word and say to, you know, like Conte or whoever, and say, listen, I need to start this game. You know, he's got to push his authority across as Harry Kane and say, I want to start tonight. I need to start this game. You know what I mean? Because to me, if he's sitting on the bench for 60, 65 minutes and stuff, does he really care that much? I I just doesn't sit right with me, mate. You know, Tottenham Hotspur doesn't sit right with me in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. It never has done. I just feel like the club, the players, I'm not that bothered. I generally just, and there's nothing telling me any different.
No, they have to be bothered, Gaz. You can't bring in a serial winner like Antonio Conte and not just be bothered. They've got to be bothered. They bloody well have to be. You know, some of them players that should have taken their chance tonight, you know, they've got to be bothered. I mean, maybe Sanchez could. There was a report a little while ago that said that Sanchez was like, "Oh, if I don't play, then I might think about leaving." Well, I think a lot of people are thinking about you leaving. So let's see what happens there. But
yeah,
you know, and maybe he was one. But then you see, I think I see it in his face that Sanchez does care, but he just messes himself up. He trips over his own feet.
It's rubbish.
It is rubbish. It is rubbish.
Against
and
Chelsea
he
on
needs
Sunday,
to go.
there was like a, you know, like they were together. They were going through it. They were getting into fights. Or, you know, they were fighting for it. They're playing for the badge, and then tonight, it just doesn't seem like anything like that.
But you know what? And that's
we didn't have that tonight.
But that's where someone like Romero is really important. And people were criticizing him. People were criticizing him when he was getting a yellow card every game. Think about those games. Those games were frustrating. And what he was doing was, one, leaving a little something on the opposition. And two, he's trying to get a slide tackle in to get his own side going. He's trying to get him up and go.
You're right.
But and the way that he does that is through a tackle, you know.
I mean, we're never going to know. Well. We're never going to know, right? It's all ifs and buts, and it's always easy to say after the event and everything else like that. But I would put my house on it that if we started that team that beat Chelsea on Sunday, we would have won that game tonight. I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe 100% we would have won that game with a team that beat Chelsea on Sunday. I genuinely do. I really think we would have. And, you know, because it's just all about, you know, just it's motion. You're in motion. You've got to win. You've just beaten your rivals, you know, Chelsea, who we never beat. All them players, Skip, you know, after that game, Harry Kane, Romero somehow didn't get a booking in that game. God knows that, but he was amazing in that. You start that team on that game today, and then Sheffield United become a lot more inferior than what Chelsea were. Do you see what I mean? Because I think after beating Chelsea, after not being able to do it, we didn't even score a goal against Chelsea at our stadium. It's the first time we've ever scored. That's how mad it is. So you start that starting 11 off the back of that, and you don't need to rest players. They played Sunday. It was an early Sunday kickoff. It's Wednesday evening. I don't understand this rotating and resting players. You don't need to. All right, Emerson Rowe's out because he's got a knock. I accept that. But you don't need to change anything else, do you? I don't understand it. It's just bizarre to me. And I think we've just given Sheffield United an opportunity to put us out. They're not going to go on and win it, which makes it even more frustrating. But I just think it was an easy game, and we've just blown it basically. But you know,
you know what, guys? You know, you guys are just, you know, you speaking about Perisic, and the biggest disappointment for me with Perisic tonight was, I think it was towards the 90th minute, or it was in that little bit of extra time where he's come in as a Conte soldier, right? Somebody who knows the system inside out, somebody who's going to teach the rest of the wing backs how to play wing back, right? Comes in with all the experience, bags of experience, suitcases full of experience, and it gets towards that end, and he whips across with pace when Harry Kane was there on the other side coming in. And all he had to do was dink it. Do you know what I mean? It went past Sonny and it went past Kane. And that's what really sealed the deal for me with Perisic tonight, which really disappointed me. Because I'm like, what did you come in for if I can't trust you to do the right thing at the right time when we really need it? And that's what really frustrated the hell out of me.
I think I know the cross you're on about, me. That was in the 77th minute. That was 2 minutes before Sheffield United scored.
There we go.
There were 3 or 4 players in the box, and he failed to find one of them.
Yeah. But he whipped it when all he had to do was dink it. Do you know?
Too much power.
It's way too much power, bro.
Yeah.
But that experience that we've brought him in for, that's what I'm expecting him to use that experience and go, right, we've got men over. All I need to do is do this. And you know what? He's done it.
And you know what? It's like what Rich mentioned earlier. Like, you know, Harry Kane's amazing. Like, you know, he's one player you can't knock. But you bring, when did he come on? Was it like the 60-something minute or something, was it?
65th, I think, 4th.
You know, so you're bringing him on in the 65th minute in an unsettled team that don't normally play all together. It's just not going to work. You know, it's just not going to work. Do you know what I mean? It's too little, too late. You know, and then we go behind, and then we do the usual thing that Tottenham do, and we panic. Do you know what I mean? It's just. I could see it happening before kickoff. It's so frustrating for me. I'm so annoyed with it because I saw it happening before it did. You know, because I've been here, and Chris will tell you, we've all been here so many times before over the years. It's such a shame, really, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Rick, let's come back to you. In the 79th minute, of course, Sheffield United scored the only goal of the game. The player went past 4 or 5 Spurs players, including Moura, Sanchez, Dyer, and as Rich said earlier, beat Fraser Forster at his near post. Went through Eric Dyer's legs. How would you describe that goal against a championship side? You know, this is, you know, at this point when Harry Kane on, you know, as Rich said, we didn't have, you know, too many clear-cut chances. The chances that we did have blasted over the bar, blasted wide, one nearly at the corner flag. But defensively, that was poor.
The best way I can describe it is this: a catastrophe of errors. That's one sentence, and one word: weak. Because it was weak. Højbjerg switched off. Sanchez should have pushed up on that. He should have been the covering guy. Porro was the first one that was passed. So he was even out of positions, not out of his position, but he was out of a position to defend in that point. And then it going through Dyer's legs. And then like Rich was saying there, Forster, like what happened with Forster, when I watched the replay, he was already diving left, but the ball went right. So as he's gone left, it's gone right, and then he's had to go down. And those 3 seconds that he wobbled on, the goal's there. So it was a catastrophe of errors. And weak play. It was weak. You know, and that's one of the biggest strengths that Sheffield United had tonight was their strength. How tall they were, how bullish they were, how physical they were. That was their strength tonight. Was them actually being a strong team, like just strength. That was their strength. And in that moment there was weakness, bro. So and then we couldn't respond.
I think they've the team's let down the fans tonight for sure.
Yeah.
I feel that that the team in as a whole, the leaders that should have been on the pitch really have let the fans down. Over the last couple of weeks,
it's not good enough. Like, it ain't good enough.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like Ricky was saying, over the last couple of weeks, we've been given this kind of false hope. And we know the problems that the team has around depth, and some of the players need to move on. And I think sometimes we keep these players for far too long, and we want them to be better than they are. And every year we get. I'm not saying it. Every year we have managers come in. You know who?
Go on, tell me.
Doherty's gone, so I can't say Doherty.
Poor old Doherty. If Doherty's still being slated by you, and he's over here.
Look, just because you're having a love affair with Matt Doherty, you know what I mean? It's like
God.
If our aspirations are to win an FA Cup or a cup, like Gary alluded to, or to be in the top 4, the top 3 every year, which we do, but we get we go above and beyond with some of these players. We need to, the Sanchez's of this world, even Davis, even Dyer, they're just not top 4 players. They're not good enough. Fraser Forster, not good enough. Lloris, we needed to move him on last year, to be honest. And it's great to see players like Skippy coming through the ranks. He's got great desire, great passion, wears the badge next to his heart, and really understands like how he does what it means to play for the club. And that's what I look at when I represent Great Britain. When I put that tracksuit on, it doesn't just mean I'm British. It means like I've got everybody in the country behind me, and like patriotism really means kind of we all fight together. And that's what it should mean when you put that Spurs shirt on, that you understand what it's like to have 30 plus years of not winning a trophy, and what the fan and how we want to change that. You need to have a plan in place to make that social change. And because we've kept, like, there was a stat about centre backs from 2012, and the only 3 good centre backs we've had since 2012 are Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and Romero. The rest have been shit. And that's not good enough. We need to be adding value to the squad all the time, because scenarios like this happen every year. Every year you could say you'll have a result like this that literally just knocks the team back. And we need to have, whether it's Enoch, whether it's Levy, held to account with how the actual fans are feeling at the moment. And the fans are feeling let down by the team because of lack of investment. And it always comes back down to that, because the manager, Poch, what did he say after 18 months without any players? Conte, what's he saying now? He needs the tools to enable him to have the plan that he wants to deliver. And that's the thing that's why I think I feel let down by the board and also the players, because yes, Harry, obviously he's a winner, but he's not won anything. So how is he a winner? Do you know what I mean? He might think he's a winner, but he hasn't won anything. He needs to show that winning mentality. If he might be winning the games, but he's definitely not winning the trophies. We need to be getting the Casemiros that went to Man United, that everybody was going, oh, they're paying all that money in wages and that transfer fee. Born winner. I think has he won, like, I think 10 out of the 12 finals he's been in. You know what I mean?
Wow.
They're the kind of stats you want. You want bringing players in. Perisic, I understand, is a warrior that obviously Conte brought in, but too old. We got him because he was like just at the top of his career, where performance wise, you're going to get probably 10 great games out of him. The rest of the time, you're just going to get like an average player, and he showed it tonight. We need players that are going to have an impact on that starting 11, like the Kulusevskis, the Benzincurs, but we need to have winners, not necessarily born winners, but winners that have won things with other clubs, that come in and change the mentality of the team. Because at the moment, we hold on to shit players, they drag other players down with them, and as fans, like Gary said, he's had enough. Rick said he's had enough. Chris hasn't seen a trophy for years, and I hear it every time I come on. We need to have that uplifting time where we kind of have trophy after trophy after trophy. But to do that, we need to have a change of mentality within the team.
Rich, just very quickly, the club are in talks with Eric Dyer about new contracts at the moment. Your thoughts on that?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I think obviously renewal of contracts, like Sonny. Obviously, Sonny renewed his contract, and he's played terrible since then. Really, it's not why they don't have these contracts where it's incentive based around winning things. I don't know. I just don't know why they don't have that. Myself, as a performance.
Do you know why, Rich? Do you know why I asked that question? Because if I close my eyes and think about Spurs losing cup games, the picture in my head is Eric Dyer. That's what it is. It's Eric Dyer always looking up to the sky, always looking for a teammate to say, "Oh, again, oh." Yeah. That's the picture I have in my head.
Yeah. And you look at the comments that I've been looking at comments when you guys have been talking as well, and a lot of the comments are coming through around, why does Eric Dyer never tackle? Why does Eric Dyer always blame somebody else? We need to get Eric Dyer out. Well, okay then, let's make a change. Let's move him on. Recoup some of the money that I know it's only 4 million, but let's recoup some money from the sale of Eric Dyer. Let's upskill him. We need to have better players, more consistent players. We can't just think, oh yeah, he might get good. Well, he's been at the club for that long now. I think we've got the best out of him. Let's move him on. Let's get somebody else in. We can't be sentimental if we're thinking about trophies. At one point there, Chris, I didn't know where you were going with obviously saying closing your eyes and thinking about Eric Dyer, but
I can guarantee you
probably.
it's not that. And I'll tell you what, Rich, for the record, I know you're slagging off old Matt Doherty again, but I bet you any money that he ends up winning a trophy before Spurs do.
Oh,
yeah, but he won't play though, will he? He'll be like 15th left or right back or wing back or whatever for Atletico Madrid, and he'll pick up some random medal because he spent 15 minutes on the pitch or something. It's like those tokenistic blooming medals that some of the players get. It's ridiculous. It's like Ericsson didn't even play for Man United in the cup final, and he'll get a medal, won't he? So I'm just not into that. If you win a cup medal, you need to be playing. You need to have played the majority of the game to actually say you played in. You can't just have a medal and then just go, "Oh yeah, I played in the first round for 5 minutes." It's ridiculous. And going and talking about Eric Dyer as well, I think, like you said, if fans have that feeling that Eric Dyer and players like Eric Dyer have passed the sell-by date, move them on, because we want to see the team win.
When you think about Spurs losing and going out of these cups, certainly in recent years, what's the picture you have in your head? Who do you see?
Probably a couple of bottles of cider, and every time I come in here and drink, it's when we lose.
I thought you were going to say Matt Doherty.
You probably are right. I think it's or Harry Kane though, or Harry Kane.
Or the race.
Harry Kane kind of going, "Oh, I've not won another trophy," kind of, but I'm all right though because I'll be leading goal scorer for England in a couple of weeks. I'll be all right, kind of thing.
We've got a nice stadium.
We've got a nice stadium, but nothing in the cabinets. Yeah. All my mates remind me, and I get all the all the stupid pictures. Like the one that's going round at the moment with a Range Rover that says Spurs at the back, and I bet it's not got a cup holder. Is that yours, Gary?
Yeah, all that.
Yeah, and it just pissed me off because I think we are a good club. We've got some amazing fans, and the ground is like jumping. Like some of the games that I've been to, the ground's jumping. Yeah. But then, like that first half against Arsenal. The first half against Arsenal, where we should have been about 5-0 down, that was probably the most deflated I've ever been in actually watching a live game. Because I just felt we've gone backwards. And we've had so many of those first halves.
So many. Yeah, Newcastle, Villa, they were all like that. Yeah. All of them.
So many.
It was awful.
And today, I felt the first half really set the tone how we played. It just wasn't good enough. We didn't have the commitment. And players like Eric Dyer putting their hands up in the air and looking at other players isn't good enough. I would rather them getting stuck in, flying into tackles, kind of leaving an elbow on somebody, just getting stuck in, just actually showing the care about the badge, the care about the fans, because we pay their wages.
Gary, let's come to you. Let's wrap the game up. 8 minutes from time, and just 3 minutes after we conceded the goal, Dan Juma came on. My personal opinion, I think that Dan Juma will probably be very disappointed that Lucas Moura started ahead of him in this game. Pedro Porro coming off. 4 minutes from time, Perisic header at goal, easy for the goalkeeper. And then in stoppage time, a glorious opportunity. Perisic cross, Harry Kane headed it wide. Someone just mentioned there about the karting track that is going to be installed later this year. What do you make of the karting track being installed at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
I mean, I couldn't care less. I couldn't give a shit. I don't care about the karting track. I don't care when there's concerts at the stadium. I don't give a monkeys what boxing fights there. I couldn't give two shits. All I care about is my team, Tottenham Hotspur, winning. I couldn't give two monkeys how much the stadium makes, this, that, and the other, all these new deals, go-karts. I'd rather go back to the old stadium, have a shitter stadium, and win something. Couldn't give a monkeys. Couldn't give two shits. I've heard it a million times. We've got a nice stadium. Got this. All it does is put the price of everything up. Couldn't give a monkey's, mate. When I'm sitting there watching that game with my boys today, he's 15, and I'm having to go onto YouTube on my phone and show him the 1991, the 81 and 82 Cup final. That's what I care about. When you've got to nearly go into black and white or in black and white when we won the double. You know, we shouldn't be having to go back to fucking 81 when we beat Man City, and 82 we beat QPR on a replay, and bloody Glenn Hoddle scored the penalty. Come on, mate. This is a joke. We're a joke. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't give a shit what go-kart they're having there, what concerts they're having there, what money they weigh, what pint that goes up from the bottom up with beer. I don't even drink fucking beer, so I couldn't care less. At the end of the day, let's win trophies, man. You know what I mean? That is a big deal for me tonight. It was a big deal. And I'll go on to that for a second, because as a parent and as a dad, when you have kids, you grow up and you tell them how important the FA Cup is and how much that competition means to you. Now, I don't know if you guys have kids or not, Chris. I know you do. But when your kids grow up, you tell them the importance of that. When they get older, and when I'm older now, I don't talk to my kids when we finished in the top four. I talk about when we won the FA Cup in 91, when we won it in 82, when we won it in 81 with Ricky Villa. That's what you want to talk about. That's why tonight is such a disappointment, because my boy goes upstairs nearly in tears, and I'm down here and I'm like, there you go, same old Tottenham. And he's like, Dad, Chelsea, West Ham, Arsenal, they were all out of the competition. Why didn't we just start the team that started Chelsea? And I've got to look at him and say, because we're Tottenham, son. That's why.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry.
The next connection on Saturday, back in the Premier League, away at Wolves at Molineux, 3 p.m. kickoff. Now, Wolves' last 6 results in the Premier League, they've won 2, they've drawn 1, they've lost 3. They played this evening at Anfield against Liverpool, losing 2-0. They are currently, they are 15th in the table right now, 3 points from the relegation zone. They've played 25, they've won 6, they've drawn 6, they've lost 13. They have 24 points. Rick, after this evening, obviously, well, I think that Antonio Conte will be back for this game in the dugout on the touchline, and no doubt will make a lot of changes in the Premier League game. What have you made of Wolves so far this season? Of course, they're under a new manager. They've had a very up and down season, only 3 points away from the relegation zone, as I've just shown you and as I've just said. How do you see this game going?
Like you said, they've been a bit up and down, and but they have brought in some good players that are trying to find their feet. You know, the pressure's on Wolves to kind of get going so that they're nowhere near the relegation zone. But they do have some dangerous players in their side, and but I can only see a win for Tottenham. Even in my worst days, even in our worst days, I will always see a win for Tottenham. Yeah. But with Conte coming back, with them kind of being kicked up the backside, there needs to be an immediate response again. And yes, we've had moments like this where we've fell flat on our faces and we've had to get back up. And the boys have done it. You know, I thought there was a couple of times where we was over and out, especially over that Christmas period. I thought that there was such a dodgy period of time where I was just like, oh, we're not doing nothing but going downwards. But then they started to pick it back up again. And I see them having to show a massive reaction. And Conte's going to demand a massive reaction because it's going to be the first time that he's back in the dugout since, you know, since the operation and stuff. Well, and since he's
just quickly, we don't mind Conte coming back now because Stellini don't have a 100% record anymore, does he? So,
well, there you go.
Come back, Conte, all's forgiven.
Now we need the big boss in the dugout. Do you know what I mean? We need the big boss to make the big decisions and go out there and get those 3 points. You know, and I see us doing that. I see a massive response against Wolves, and I look forward to picking up the 3 points. Do you want a prediction now, or do you want it at the end, Chris?
You can do it now if you like.
I'm going 3-1 Tottenham. 3-1 Tottenham. In fact, I'm going 3-0 Tottenham. They won't even score. It will be the same side that started against Chelsea. And I see there being a massive response. You've got to remember how important Skippy has been in the last couple of games, all right? And what was really good about him, especially at Milan, and he's continued it, is just getting in the way, just kind of getting little nicks and flicks and and sliding challenges that break up the opposition's attack and when they try and transition on us. He's been so important, and especially without Bentancur being there, I think he's been really important. So I see the side going back to the side that started against Chelsea. I see Richarlison probably starting on the left again, and hoping to give him a bit of a run. But the one thing that he does bring, a bit like Lamela, is a few step overs, but a bit like Lamela, he brings a bit of improvisation, but chaos and a bit of aggression. And he likes to wind up the opposition. So I see him starting on the left, Kane back in the side, and Kulu on the right, Højbjerg, Skippy, and the same back five that we had against Chelsea. And I see us winning, mate. I see us winning. I see us putting some points on that board and showing a reaction and doing it for Conte as well. Because Conte won't have it.
Are you looking forward to seeing Conte back, Rick?
Yeah, I am. Do you know what? This is the thing. It's like I'm on the Conte train now. It took a minute. Before he signed, I didn't think he would be the right fit for us. I thought we should go for a project manager. I thought we should, Gaz knows. I've said Ten Hag many a time,
Yeah.
And I said that as a project manager or bringing Poch back or, others. I won't go into that. But as soon as he came in and as soon as we started to kind of shift momentum, and he's the serial winner and all of that, I got onto the Conte train. And yes, there's been some bad games. Yes, there's been some boring games, some flat games. But I'm on this Conte train, and I want him and I want us to succeed. And if he goes in the summer, all right, cool. He goes in the summer. But like I said from when he signed, don't fall in love with him. You can love him, just don't fall in love with him. Because even if he won the league, he could leave the next day, because we've seen it happen before. So yeah. I want to see this journey out. I want to see us do something under the leadership of Conte, and then whatever happens in the summer happens.
Rick, how are you feeling about the game on Saturday?
I've just been reading some of the comments about what everyone else is thinking, saying that Wolves are going to beat us 2-1. A lot of the comments are very negative.
Yeah, but there would be.
Just remember Harry Kane starting that game, guys out there, guys watching. Just remember Harry Kane will start that game.
Yeah, we'll start. But as we know, Premier League's all about momentum, and away from home we play. I feel that sometimes when we play the same kind of formation away from home, it doesn't really work. Hopefully it will beat Wolves, but it'd be tight. I think, like you were saying, Ricky, they've definitely got some really creative players. That the manager's going through like a transitional period. I would say 2-1, 1-0, or it won't be a 3-0, mate. We won't turn over. There's no team in the Premier League apart from maybe a Bournemouth away that you can really turn over 3 or 4 now. Forest maybe away. They're not great away, are they? But when you're going to their ground, and Wolves have got a great fan base that really get behind their team, and they've got creative players on the ball, that some of those guys would get into the Spurs team for sure, and they're building that team for the future. Where I think, obviously, if Richarlison plays with Sonny and Kane, it's really important that we get Richarlison scoring and Sonny backfiring, because if not, he'll take that form into the Milan game. So I'd say 2-1, 1-0 maybe to Spurs.
Would you go with Rich? Go on, Rick. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, Rich brought up a great word there, and it was momentum. And I think that is the biggest thing that we have missed as a side throughout this whole season. If we look at that last period of last season where we got into that top 4, we had a great momentum. We went from game to game, and that energy, it just built and built and built and built and built. And we haven't been able to build that. Every time we roll the rock up the hill, 2 meters, you know what I mean? We'll look behind us, and then suddenly it rolls all the way back down, and then we're pushing it up the hill again. And, so we haven't been able to get any momentum this season. And that's what troubles me as well. It's a great word, Rich. It's a great spot.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a Conte? Do you think that's a Conte way of management, that that we haven't got the chess pieces to be able to have that kind of those
I just think it's
really
been a
kind
weird.
of inspiring performances.
I just think it's been a really weird, tough season, bro. Like every time we've gone 2 steps forward, we go 3 steps back, which is unfortunate. But that's been the trend of this season so far.
I mean,
and that's why
I think we've got to remember as well. I mean, apart from let's say probably Arsenal, most of the teams in the Premier League and definitely in the cup competitions, it's none of them have been consistent. They've all had some shocking results. And like this competition, for example, FA Cup, most of the teams are out of that. Okay, Carabao Cup was won by Man U. I think most of us thought they'd win that, although I did think Newcastle would get to the final. But if you look at the Premier League and you look at most of the sides, apart from Arsenal, they've all been very inconsistent. And some of the results have been, unbelievable. I mean, Liverpool and Chelsea are shocking this season. I mean, as bad as it is tonight, look, they lost bottom of the league Southampton and they created no chances, nothing. They were absolutely horrendous, Chelsea. So, and Liverpool the same. They got absolutely hammered by Wolves 3-0. So I think looking at the league this season and stuff like that, I think apart from Arsenal, as it pains me to say, all the teams have been very, very inconsistent. It's been a weird season, and I think it could be said as well about the FA Cup. And I guess that's probably why I was so angry and down about it, because it's a bit like the Premier League this season. Everything's up for grabs, and no team really is performing that well. Do you know what I mean? It's mental.
Can I just ask you all, are we all expecting then that Antonio Conte and Scrutiny will go with the same team that beat Chelsea?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because I think they'll realise the mistake they've made tonight, and they'll start that team. And I think we'll beat Wolves. I think we'll only beat them 1-0 and it'll be a Harry Kane goal. They'll probably frustrate us in the game, and then we'll probably score in the 75th minute or something like that, and we'll win it 1-0 with Harry Kane. But it will be a good, solid performance, and that's not what we had tonight because of the team that was out. So,
you're right there, mate. You're right there, mate. You're right there.
Last question for you all. I wanted to talk about the top four because Spurs are fourth at the moment, 45 points from 25 matches. Liverpool, after their win this evening, are now in the top six. They are now 6 points away from us with a game in hand. Newcastle are fifth. They're 4 points away and they have 2 games in hand. Rick, let's start with you on talking about the top four. Are you confident?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I think we've got to be. It has been an inconsistent season for us, but so has it for, like the boys just said there, Liverpool, Chelsea. And if we think that Liverpool and or Chelsea have an opportunity to make it into the top four, then why can't we? We've done it over the last couple of seasons. If it ends up being the one thing that we fight for, then we've got to make sure that we get it, ain't we? So yeah, we're in fourth right now. The one that troubles me, not so much Liverpool right now, but it's Newcastle because they've got 2 games in hand over us. So yeah, that's the one that troubles me right now. But like Gaz just said there about every single team, it's been so inconsistent. It's up to us. We've got to get that momentum going, and we've really got to start cutting out the mistakes that we keep repeating. And go on a run and build some momentum and get some energy going within this side, because every time we fail, there's 3 or 4 players from that 11 that end up like crumbling in confidence-wise, and then that'll go on for another 2-3 games until they pick it back up again. So, or something, that we have a win and they have a bit of a good performance, and then they'll start picking it back up again. But every time we have a loss, that depression or that lack of confidence or that crumble, it's affecting those players, and it's a long-lasting effect. It's not by the next game they get rid of it. It's a long-lasting effect. So I'm going to say yes, I am confident, and yes, we will finish in that top 4.
How confident are you feeling now, Rich?
I've said fifth since probably like October, November. So probably stick with that. I think Liverpool probably at fourth, and we'll be fifth, just ahead of Newcastle. yeah, I think the inconsistency is going to really bite us in the arse. I think I'd like to think that Sonny will get back into some form, Richarlison will start scoring, and then we'd have that kind of clear path towards getting fourth. I'm not sure. I've looked at some of the fixtures that we've got, obviously moving forwards for the last 10 or 12 games, and yeah, we've got some tricky fixtures in there towards the end of the season. Weeks like we've got now, if we lose against Sheffield United and then you've got Wolves, Milan, etc., it can be really detrimental. And I think the season if we don't have that momentum, like we were saying earlier, going into those results, we can easily lose 2 or 3 on the bounce, and that's when other teams are going to catch us, and that's not going to help the confidence of the team, and that's when those results really do slip you by, especially against some of the teams that you should be rolling over, and you just kind of. So I would say, not very confident. Yeah. The Conte thing as well is still hanging overhead about, obviously, is Conte going to be the manager at the end of the season? That definitely does affect the players' self-esteem, and it does affect you. I think that does. If the manager came out with a real kind of positive stance around the club's backing me, I've got all confidence in the summer that I'm going to get 150 million, 200 million in the transfer market to get the players I need. Harry's going to sign a new contract. We're going to get rid of Sanchez and Eric Dyer. Then that's it. That's all you need, really. That's it. You can send him to Atletico Madrid with your mate. It's fine. I can drive him to Heathrow if you want. Instead of having to pay for an Uber, I can drive him.
I drive everywhere. Ask Chris, he'll tell you.
Let's drive him to Heathrow and get him on the next flight to Madrid, and he can.
I'll drive him to France, anywhere, Amsterdam, wherever.
Yeah, Gary's driving's fine, but it's just listening to him on the way.
Yeah, he won't want to come back after he spends 12 hours in the car with me.
On a serious note, Rich, what I just wanted to ask you there about top 4. If Spurs do scrape top 4 and go in the Champions League next season, we always talk about progression on this channel. You know, whenever we're on these chats, we always talk about progression and progressing. Is it progression if Spurs just finish in the top 4 and we have another year without a trophy? Is Conte?
No. Well, no. Obviously, he's continually talked about being a serial winner. It's not progress, is it? How can finishing 4th again be progress? It isn't. It's consolidation. Yeah, and like Gary's alluded to, the fans' expectation is to win a trophy. Your expectation, Gary, Rick, is about winning that trophy.
Yeah.
And is it going to take us to consolidate winning a trophy to come 6th? Maybe it is for us to move forward.
I'll take that
because the only reason why the board is kind of really adamant about the top 4 is because of the financial implications that it comes into the club. But we're not seeing that. We're not seeing the kind of investment that we think we should have.
Yeah.
But also, I think there's clubs around us that have spent less that have won. You look at the Leicesters in the past, winning the league, winning trophies.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating thing, that when you've got an opportunity to win, when the kind of the cards are on the table and we've not really stood up and took those opportunities. Like tonight, that was a great opportunity. After the draw as well, you go, that's a great opportunity to get into the semi-finals before
We've been in the semis of the FA Cup.
Yeah, before you play potentially a top 4 side. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and you can't continually not take those opportunities without spending millions and millions. We need to have more consistent performances, and we need to turn up to the games knowing and having the expectation that the players are going to give everything. Even if they lose, they're going to put the heart and the soul on the pitch.
Yeah.
Don't think they did that tonight. That's me just being 100% honest.
Yeah.
Rick, just a very quick yes or no. Will Conte be our manager next season?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ricky, you can answer that one, man. Yeah,
No,
Ricky's
I
dying
was
to answer that.
I was so happy that I wasn't answering it. I'm so
Ricky?
happy with Rich.
Rick, actually, let's start with you on that. Will Conte be our manager?
Yeah,
next
Ricky,
season?
there you go.
You see that? You see that? Yeah.
I don't think he will be. I don't think he will be.
Probably not, mate. Probably not. But
Just a yes or no.
No. Oh, yes. Maybe. I don't know. Leave me alone. Go, move, pass.
I said no months ago.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the manager next season?
Oh,
Wow.
a difficult one. Maybe
It's not
Poch.
difficult. There's
Is it going to be
only
you,
one.
Mike Pochettino?
It's got to be. It's got to be. It's got to be.
Maybe Poch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Has to be.
Gary?
And then back him.
Yeah, I think it'll be Poch, you know, and if just to try and put a kind of a not so much of a downer on things, but if you was to ask me, you know, who would you want to win a trophy under, Conte or Poch? I would say Poch, you know, because he is Tottenham through and through, whereas Conte isn't. You know, Conte is just another ex-Chelsea manager. Let's be honest, like Mourinho. So if we're not going to win anything this season, that's it. Season's over now, because finishing in the top four is not winning anything, right? So Conte's gone in the summer, in my opinion. Poch comes back because I think he's holding out to come back to Tottenham. And then, you know, if we won something under Poch next season, it would probably make the pain of tonight and the last few years worth it, if I'm honest, because I couldn't think of any other manager I'd rather win a trophy under other than Poch.
Yeah, true. Me too.
Well, Gary, Ricky, and Richard, I can't thank you enough. It's never easy talking about a game, particularly when we've gone out to another cup competition. Certainly for 2 hours. So apologies for a 2-hour stream. Ricky, thanks so much as always, and tell everyone where they can find you and what you're up to at the moment.
Oh, thank you. Always an honor and a pleasure, even if it's on a loss, brother. You know, win, lose, or draw. Come on, you Spurs. You guys know where you can find me. I'm probably going to be on here with Chris and the boys and discussing football a bit more. But you can find me on Twitter at Ricky J Norwood, which is down here somewhere, and on Insta, official Ricky Norwood. And yeah, I'll let you know when there's some exciting things coming up. But yeah, we'll keep it moving. Thank you again, Chris. Always fun being on. And thank you for the therapy session. I will send the fee over in a couple of days. All right, sunshine?
Rick, thank you so much. Gary, lovely to have you back on. I know you've been very passionate tonight. A lot of comments, a lot of love for you, stating that you were saying exactly how a lot of the viewers and listeners felt. So
wow.
Thank you for coming back.
Oh, no, pleasure. Listen, look, you know, like I always said, you know, as much as it was painful tonight, I was looking forward to it because it is just a case of just get it off your chest. I was very frustrated. The boy's gone up to bed in tears. He's upset. The wife is just upstairs, locked the door because, you know, I mean, to be honest, he took the defeat to Chelsea very, very well. Just quickly, I'll end it on a high. I mean, she was probably as happy as what I was because she wants Potter out. So that was a good day all round. You know, there was no holding back the emotions of me celebrating beating Chelsea because she was happy as what I was. But look, tonight's happened. It is what it is. I will say, you know, apologies. I was getting very angry. I did swear a lot, but for me, Chris, I hold the FA Cup very, very close to my heart. And growing up as a kid, you know, it was the trophies I saw us win, you know, as a little kid and stuff like that. Yeah, when I was very young, I remember the UEFA Cup in '84. But as a kid, 81, 82, and then going through the whole experience of the semi-final against Arsenal and then the final against Forest, you know, that era of Paul Gascoigne and the semi-final was probably even bigger for me and a bigger memory for me with Gazza scoring that free kick than what the final was. But for me, as my kids are getting older, the FA Cup is always something I talk to them about and share because, let's be honest, we don't have much else as Tottenham fans. So that's why I think it really hit home tonight because I saw how much my boy wanted it as much as I wanted it. and as much as everyone here wanted it, and everyone listening and messaging in. So, but for that, mate, I thank you very much for having me on again. And you know me, I love coming on here, and I love talking Tottenham, even if it's not always positive.
Well, thank you, Gary. It's been a pleasure having you back. And Richard, great having you back on again. Tell everyone where they can find you and what you're up to at the moment.
It's always good. And do you know one thing that I've realised tonight is that Gary's passionate about the FA Cup. I didn't realise that.
And don't you forget it. Imagine how passionate I'm going to be when we win it. Can you imagine?
Bloody hell.
I know. There was a guy that was on the feed earlier that said he's like 78 years old. I think his name was Keith, and he said, "Will I live to see us winning another cup?"
Yeah, but you know, this is the thing,
and that's the thing, isn't it? Mate. I tell you what, all those fucking Spurs players need to see that comment before they play every game.
Yeah,
because that's the kind of comments that sportsmen and women need to see.
And do you know what, Rich? You're right. And the other thing is, like, you know, like Arsenal won the FA Cup so many times. All those teams have won stuff. You know, Man United, I think they went 6 years until they just won the Carabao Cup. But when I'm talking to my son, who's like, you know, nearly 16, and he's asking me about when Tottenham last won something and stuff, and you're having to go back onto YouTube and in the archives and talk to them about players like Ricky Villa and bloody Gary Lineker, who looks about 80 years of age on Match of the Day now. I mean, it's just, you know, it's not good. It really, really isn't. And we've got a great club, a good team. We've got some good players. We've got a lovely fan base, a great family. Everything is amazing. The only thing we're missing is winning a bloody trophy. You know, that's the only thing.
Give me a year. Give me a year, Gary. When are they coming?
Do you know what, Chris? Let's say they're coming this year and we're going to win the Champions League.
Because I think Richard's right. You know, when are we going to see a trophy? Are we going to live to see a trophy?
Yeah. Well, thankfully I've lived to see a few, but I probably won't live to see any more. So.
Yeah, we won't talk about Champions League. Of course, Spurs are in Champions League action next week against AC Milan. Hopefully, we can turn that tie around. But that is another show. Gary, Ricky, and Richard, thanks so much. Thanks so much to everybody who has watched this stream, listened to it on an audio platform. Your support is really appreciated. Very, very grateful. So thanks so much. And I will see you on the next one on Saturday against Wolves. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on.